So before I tell you how to set them, how to figure out what your standards are, how to keep those standards while you're dating, and what to do when someone is not meeting them. Even though that person could be like the coolest, you can have like the amazing connection you've been looking for, what to do in those instances. Before I tell you all this, I need to tell you why having standards is so important. Short answer is because you can have a lot of love stories, but not a lot of life stories. And what I mean by that is that you can have a lot of people with whom you have great connection, great banter, with whom you have an amazing first date, with whom you have, you know, all this like excitement and stuff like that. But there's not a lot of people with whom you can have this like connection or sparks or whatever is important to you, and in the same time have this understanding, find a person who understands you, who makes you feel heard, who makes you feel important, who shares the same morals as you, who shares the same, I don't know, hobbies as you. Not necessarily all the hobbies, but you know, we get the point. Because when we go like this excitement and we start dating someone with whom we feel like excited and we're not looking past that point, those kind of relationships break up pretty fast because excitement is doomed to wear off. The largest flame goes down the fastest. And so when we don't have standards, we're just entertained by the person who has that excitement, who has those, I don't know, similar banter to ours. And I'm not saying anything bad about that. You can have a moment in your life or like period of your life or like your whole life when you just want, you know, casual relationship. But people who want deeper relationship, they have to have standards, because that person who can give you banter doesn't mean that that person can give you understanding, that that person can make you feel heard, that that person can, you know, be with you for the rest of your life, or like for a period of your life. Not necessarily for the rest of your life, but like for a period of your life. Doesn't mean that that person is gonna make you feel good about yourself. Doesn't mean that that person is gonna be there for you. So that's why you have to have standards. Also, when we don't have standards and anyone would give us any kind of attention, we're just head over heels because someone is giving us attention. And you're putting yourself at risk here, because the person who can give you like attention and like this banter and like this excitement, or like act like they understand you, or like support you, or like, you know, do all of these things just to impress you and get you to like them, you're in a dangerous spot, because that person could be a player. That person could be just playing you and leading you on, and then you're gonna break your heart so many times just because whenever someone would give you attention, you would be so excited, and then that person doesn't reply you after a first date, or like disappears for 2 weeks and they're like, oh, let's catch up, you know? Do you want that kind of relationship? You don't deserve that kind of relationship. You don't deserve someone forgetting about you for 2 weeks and like, then I forgot about you. I have, you know, free day on like Monday, so I don't really care what you're doing, but let's catch up. You know, you don't deserve that kind of behavior towards yourself. So having standards is so vital, because you protect yourself from getting hurt and you protect your time from being wasted. And when you have standards, it's about you. When you like meet people and you have this excitement, you're like, oh, this person is gonna be so amazing, we're gonna date and they're gonna be like this and this and this, and you build expectations for people just because you don't have standards. And expectations is about other person. It's like hoping that they would fulfill those expectations, where standards, you control your standards. If someone doesn't meet your standards, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna go. But expectations, when someone doesn't fulfill your expectation, it hurts. Instead of expecting something from someone, just rely on your standards and you're gonna be good. So here's how to set them. First one, self-reflect. Identify what are your core values are. Do you value kindness? Do you value honesty? Do you value freedom? Understand what your values are. Setting standards is much more about you than who you're looking for. I mean, they kind of combine together, but you really have to know yourself pretty darn well to set spot on standards. And also reflect on past relationships. Like, why did they go wrong? What caused that? Second one is set personal goals. Short ones and long ones in the future, because that will help you to understand how you want your life to look like. Because when you're gonna search for that one, for that amazing person who you want to share a period of your life with, or like the rest of your life with, you have to have the same or like similar viewpoints of the future you want. Like that person wants the similar future to what you want, because if not, then you're just gonna drag each other back, or one of you, or both of you. So set your goals, short-term goals, like the goals, like for example, oh, I want to run a marathon, and goals like long goals, like for example, oh, I want to be a CEO of this company, or like I want to have 5 kids, or something like that. Third one is observe your reaction. It's very much noticing how you feel, how you react, what do you say, how do you like, you know, what your facial expression when someone does something, because a strong emotional response, negative emotional response, means that someone doesn't meet your standards, about which you don't know yet, but inside you knows that I don't want to be treated that way. And just take notes of that and understand, like, in what situation do I feel strong, negative, emotional response, and like set those standards there. So just observe yourself as much as you can. And also pay attention to your decision making. Pay attention to the decisions you're making and why are you making them, because that can reveal underlying standards. First one is define what are the most important things or thing in your life. Is it a career? Is it family? Is it traveling? And so on and so forth. Because sure, opposites attract and they make a couple very excited, very passionate, very like sparkling and stuff like that. But similarities work better. And also when you meet someone and that person, for that person, family is important, but career is more important to you. Or for example, you meet someone who doesn't want a relationship. Like we've seen so many movies where there was a guy who didn't want a relationship, who had different girl every day, and like he was such a player, but then he met that girl and he isn't a player anymore, and he wants to start a family with her, and he wants to be, you know, the father of her kids and her husband, and wants to be with her forever. He's done with all the girls because he only loves her. That's an amazing concept. That's why we watch movies, because it gives us this amazing feeling, because it's unrealistic. Okay, listen and hear me out. If you're gonna meet someone, okay, for example, let's take me. For me, career right now is more important than family or traveling or stuff like that. Career is like number one from all these things that I just listed, you know, from family, career, traveling, and so on. Career is number one. So if I meet someone for whom family is number one, we're not gonna work together, because I'm either going to sacrifice what I want my life to look like for him, or he's gonna sacrifice what he wants his life to look like for me. And then years later, we're gonna resent each other. One of us gonna resent each other, because if I'm gonna give up the, I don't know, want for my career, or like do what I want to do just for him so he wants to start a family, I'm gonna be wondering like, what would my life look like if I haven't done what he wanted me to do? And also, it's not your person when the person wants you to change. If, for example, let's call him Josh. I met Josh, he's an amazing guy, but family is first for him. For me, career is first for me, and he wants to change me. He tells me that I don't have to work a day, that I can stay at home, be with kids, and I don't want to do that. But I love him, and as so many people say in this world, love requires sacrifices. And Josh is trying to change me. He wants to make me a stay-at-home mom, as to say. I want a career, but Josh likes, not me, not who I am right now, but he likes the idea of who I could be in his image. So he's trying to fix me. He's trying to make me the way he wants me to be, like in his head. That's not love. He doesn't love me. He doesn't like me. He wants me to be someone from his imagination to come true. He doesn't respect that career for me is number one, as for him, family. And yeah, it looks cute in movies when there are people, for example, a boy meets a girl and a boy is so into his career, and then he meets her and gives up everything for her. That's great, because that's movies. But in real life, people grow to resent each other. They grow to resent each other. Yeah, first of all, they love the idea. They love the idea of being with that person, like, oh, what if I give up that for a little while? They don't understand that they just giving up a part of themselves. If someone would come into my life and like, oh, let's, date, let's get married, but you're not gonna pursue your career, you're not gonna pursue your passion, you're gonna be stay-at-home mom, they would be just ripping apart a large part of me. The same way I would come in to someone in their life and like say, hey, I don't want a family right now, so rip away the part of yourself which have been with you for years if you want to be with me. That's not cool. If someone wants to change you, walk away. If you want to change someone else, walk away, because that's not love. There's a difference between working to be better and between ripping a part of person so they will be in the way that you want them to be. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to find someone for whom career is on the first place and for your career is the first place, or who loves travel as much as you love travel. You have to find a person who has the same priorities as you do, because if you don't, you are either gonna break up real soon or you're gonna start hating each other because of one of you sacrificed everything, and then you're gonna be like 30 or 40 and yelling at each other like, I sacrificed everything, I sacrificed my career for you and you cheated on me. We've seen a lot of these stuff in movies too. And fifth one is write down your standards. Every day you're discovering something else, and it doesn't make you complicated, it doesn't make you too much, it doesn't make you, I don't know, a lot if you have a long list of standards. Reasonable standards. If you have standards like, oh, he has to be 6'5", blue eyes, be ready to be a little disappointment, be ready to kind of, not like disappointed, but like work your way around that, because you're not gonna find the perfect prince if you're gonna build it around like attractiveness or something like that. You're not gonna find 100%. So don't be afraid to add a new standard or new standards to your standard list whenever you discover an important one. And to people who say like, oh, you're being too complicated, you're being difficult, it's not attractive to have so many standards, say, fine, I wasn't attracting you. Like, if you cannot give me bare minimum, what do you want me to do? A charity job or something? Like, bye-bye. It doesn't have to be that mean. I was just like catching a little, something. I was catching a little something. Hopefully not the cold, but like, it doesn't have to be that mean. And my point is, you're not being too much or too complicated or, too difficult, because you know your worth, what you bring to the table, and you want someone else to bring that also to the table. You're not being too much. You are just approaching life with the same confidence men have for centuries. That's all. That's all. And it's not wrong for you to know what you want, to point out what you want, to act like you know what you want. It's not wrong. You have to be that way, babes. Communicating your standards. Okay, this is something very interesting, because how do you do that? How do you communicate your standards? Are you gonna like print out a list and you're gonna give someone on a first date, or you're gonna, not say anything and just have them in mind? Like, what do you do? First of all, none of these that I said, none of these. For example, you start dating someone and you've been on a couple of dates and it's getting kind of serious. Then you can have a conversation about standards. But before that, there is no need to go on a first date with a printed standard test, and I'm of course kidding, or like showing it on your phone or like in your notebook, like, look, this is my standards. If you're not gonna fulfill them, I'm gonna break up with you, okay? No, because there are so many manipulative people who can like see like, look, oh, she has this in standards too, and they can act out like the Prince Charming that you want them to be. That's only gonna be a game for them, and you're gonna get hurt in the process. Like, don't just go around and tell people, like, for example, you're on a first date and you're like, oh no, buddy, I'm not one of those girls who's gonna go home after first date. Or like, whenever you're like on a second date, on a first date, you're like, dude, I'm not one of those girls who's gonna be okay if you're gonna, ditch me for 2 weeks and then randomly remember about me and like, hey, let's catch up. I'm not one of those girls. High value person who knows their standard, they not saying verbally anything, they show it by their action. They say verbally stuff to the person that matters, to the person that they think it's getting serious with. So basically, when you've been on a couple of dates, just have a conversation with the person and say like, receiving flowers once a week, fresh flowers, makes me feel loved and makes me feel appreciated. What about you? What can I do to make you feel loved and appreciated? It doesn't have to be like, hey, you piece of nothing. If you're not gonna buy me flowers every week, fresh flowers every week, I'm gonna break up with you. I'm gonna break up with you faster than you can call your mom and complain. Don't do that. And also, if that person is not for you, if that person doesn't respect your boundaries, doesn't matter in what way you're gonna communicate your boundaries, they're not gonna understand. They're not gonna respect them. They can show you and like act like they, you know, understand that and stuff like that, but they don't. They don't. No. And just walk away. If you talked with that person about their standards and about your standards and like what makes you feel valued, what is important to you, what is like you appreciate in a relationship and stuff like that, then you told them this is all you can do. You cannot force anyone to do anything. I've heard a quote recently from Renee. Probably you can like bring horse to the water, but you cannot make them drink it, you know? So you can tell someone what your standards are. You can tell them, like, show them by your actions and stuff like that, communicate them to them. But if they didn't want to, if they're not the person for you, nothing is gonna happen. Just like walk away and don't waste your time on BS. They're gonna tell you like, oh, but I don't really like flowers, but like, who cares? Dude, who cares if you don't like flowers? If it makes me feel appreciated and loved, what do I care? Like, what do you care? If, for example, I don't know, I don't even know what male like substitution for this like giving flowers could be. Like, I don't know what a substitution for men. Like, cook you a meal. If I don't like cooking and you like cooking, when someone cooks something for me, it makes me feel appreciated and like, you know, loved, and I'm like, okay, I don't like doing that, but if it makes you feel loved and appreciated, I could do that. But also not fair, because buying flowers is just, you know, 30 seconds thing, and like cooking, it's a long process. So I don't know what male equivalent for like giving flowers is, but whatever, you get what I'm talking about. I don't have to like it. If I'm gonna date someone and they're like, I like receiving flowers and stuff like that, and I don't like flowers, I'm not gonna be like, hey, I don't like flowers, why do you like flowers? No. If it makes them feel loved, appreciated, and so on and so forth, I'm gonna do this because I'm committed to the person. I want to make them happy, I want to make them feel loved, appreciated. I want to show them. If I can show them that I love them, that I appreciate them, that I care about them by giving like flowers or like little things, or like going to the cinema with them, or like doing like any of these like little things or even big things, I'm gonna do that. Because if I care about that person, I'm gonna show them. If I don't care about that person, I'm gonna find so many excuses of, I have allergies, I don't like flowers, I don't like people, I don't like, it's a waste of money, I'm gonna find so many excuses. But if I care about you, I'm gonna give you them. I'm gonna give you them. And yeah, sometimes maybe you need to remind me, but I'm gonna give you them. I want to make you feel loved, cared for, and appreciated, and so on and so forth. So here's how to use standards while dating. First one is temper your enthusiasm, meaning update your perception of the situation and let go of this like idealistic person you have in your mind, like idealistic person you made that person to be. Let go of that image of that person that never existed and you just made them. Look realistically at the situation. I hate this word, realistically, but look at the situation how it is. Don't give that person like 5 more points just because they're attractive, because they this and that. Look at the situation without rose-colored glasses on. Second one is understand your needs, meaning know yourself. You have to figure out who you want as a person. For example, I want to meet a person who reads, who is a man of God, who that and that. If I'm gonna meet a person who is not like the person I want to meet, and I'm gonna be gaslighting myself in thinking like, maybe he'll change. Maybe he'll change for me, because I cannot stop seeing him. I cannot stop seeing him because he's so attractive. Like, he's really attractive. I can't close my eyes to the fact that he's nothing like I want, but he's so attractive. You know, don't gaslight yourself. There are enough people in this life who's gonna gaslight you, so don't be the person who gaslights themselves. you know? And also attractiveness and looks, they're gonna fade away. And you can get used to how a person looks. It's not such a big deal universally. It's such a big deal because of the dating websites. That's one of the reasons why I hate them and I'm not using them, is because we're basically estimating the worth of the person, of like, should we like swipe right or left based on their appearance, based on 3 or 5 moments in their life, and I hate that. Also, I might really download dating apps at some point in my life because in order to meet people I have to get out of my house and I don't do that. So here's a little issue. Third one is speak up. People are not mind readers. They're not gonna know how you feel. They're not gonna know like if they are meeting your standards or not meeting your standards, or is that gonna make you feel unhappy or awful or not. Just speak up about that. And also not in an aggressive way. I showed you how to speak up. So do a nice way. Because being rude and mean to the person you want a relationship with, to the person you want to build your life with, is not gonna get you anywhere. Okay, so you did all of these things and they're still not meeting your standards, they're still not respecting your standards, they're still not there, then just leave. Like, I'm sorry, but I'd rather watch Gilmore Girls than entertain this guy just cause. No. If I want to waste my time, I'm gonna watch Gilmore Girls again and again and again and again, because that is the best, or shall I say the better usage of my time than like entertaining this guy and like hoping that he would change, hoping that he would understand, hoping that he would respect my standards. No means no. You can bring horse to the water, but you cannot make horse drink it. And I know it's can be complicated when you like go on these dates and there are people, like you meet a lot of people, like I've been on 10 dates and no one can like meet my standards, and you just settle down with someone just because have someone. I want to tell you that don't lose hope, because every wrong date brings you closer to the right one. So don't give up. Don't give up yet. Don't give up yet. Prince or princess or like queen, king, don't give up yet, because your person is out there somewhere else, or somewhere closer, or like near you, or like on another continent. Not to worry, it's not a sad news, they still exist. The comforting fact is that they breathe the same air as you do. They look at the same sun and sky as you do. Again, I want to say, you're not being too complicated or too much for knowing what you want and not tolerating anything below that. You're actually pretty great if you know what you bring to the table and you're like, I bring that to the table. If you're not gonna bring this to the table, we're not gonna sit at the same table. It's nothing personal. It's just I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want you to waste your time, because time is the essence. So every bad date gets you closer to the second love of your life, because the first love of your life is you. I mean, in my case, the first love of my life is Jesus. But and then me, and then a person, like husband of mine, you know. But it could be different for you. And also, let's end this video with a quote. And I mentioned this quote already in some of my videos. The quote is, you're not being a bad human being for being selective of who you have in your life. So choose, pick, date people, understand what you like, what you don't like, what your standards are, what your boundaries are, understand all of that. Because you deserve to have that amazing partner, the person who understands you, the person who makes you feel heard, the person who shares the same life priority as you are. Just, you deserve to have that person. You do not deserve to settle. No settling. No settling for you. If you're watching this video, no settling for you. Like, I'm manifesting, I'm praying for you that you're not gonna settle. You're gonna find that one and you're gonna live your best life. And it doesn't matter what your relatives say, doesn't matter how your relatives say that it's too much, or your friends say that you're too much and it's unrealistic, you're gonna die alone with these standards. You know. You said something, I don't hear you. La la la. La la la. You're not here. So, I love you. Thank you for watching this video till the end. And, well, bye. And if you are unhappy single and that's why you're watching this video to like understand what you're doing wrong so I can get someone, you don't have to have someone, you have yourself. The greatest love story of your life is with yourself. with yourself or with Jesus and then yourself really differs depending on your religion, as to say, and your relationship with religion. But yeah, the greatest love of your life is you, and then that person. So if you're not happy being alone, I have a video for that. It's here somewhere. So watch that video, and I'll see you in the next week, or in a few seconds if you want to watch any of my videos again. Okay, love you, bye!